For the first time in my life, I was laying in my bed and I was thinking to myself, why aren't more people talking about how to actually become the person you want to be? In this context, I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, I can't really remember. I was laying in my bed and I was asking myself, like, how do people become like millionaires? How do people create a reality that they're so satisfied with that they can live prosperous, happy lives? It wasn't really in depth, but it was something. It was just a glimpse of a thought that came to mind. Why aren't people sharing this knowledge and this piece of advice? Fast forward, like, let's say 5 years. I'm here, I'm 16 years old very, very soon. I'm sitting here, I'm trying to articulate my thoughts about how to become more resilient so you actually feel like your goals is going to become a reality once you've set the foundation. I'm going to help you set the foundation today to accomplish basically any goal. And whenever I have the opportunity to do this and to articulate my thoughts, I feel so purposeful. And I have a free community and link in the description if you ever feel like you need some help with this or anything like that. But when I was laying there in my bed, something that didn't really cross my mind because I was a very, very like little boy. I'm still not very old, to be honest. I'm very, very young. I was laying there in my bed, and just that sheer thought of that, there is an ability to improve, there is an ability to create something that you want to do. I'm so thankful and grateful for how people actually expressed the idea and the identity and put that into place inside of me that you can actually create something if you want to. It's just a matter of like how hard will you work, how smart will you work, and how like in demand will the thing that you actually articulate will be. Whenever I thought about that, that literally like encouraged me. And I'm so happy when I was like 12 years old, I started to look more into like Jordan Peterson, David Goggins, the people who started to blow up at that time, also Hamza. But that was a little bit later. I started to look into these things in like 2022, and I got a really deep interest in like productivity, mindset, and all of these things. But I couldn't seem to make a bunch of progress. But what you don't realize is that most of your progress in the beginning is very, very invisible. What you need to realize is that first of all, you have to make the invisible progress before it becomes visible. Because there are really two things we need to cover here. The reason for why your progress is invisible in the beginning. It's first of all because to set the foundation is to set the foundation in the things that isn't really tangible in the real world. For example, your focus, your mental clarity, your ability to kind of like conduct your thoughts and conduct your focus and energy into something. That's the first like pillar of this. And what do I mean by that? Well, before this, I didn't really know what I should be doing, what I was doing, and I was just trying a whole bunch of different things without getting any like so-called results, but I was still improving myself. I was still becoming more knowledgeable, more credible. And that's the reason. That's the first like reason for why you can make progress in the future, because you've set the foundation. You've set this thing where now you have the experience and you have the knowledge. That's why I can articulate my thoughts right now, because I set the foundation in 2024, January, February, when I started to articulate my thoughts. Second of all, what the reason that you also like aren't seeing any progress is because you need to make progress on the non-tangible things. Or am I wrong here? Wait. Yeah, I was talking about you're doing work, but you're not really getting results because you didn't really have any previous experience. Then you also have to make progress on the invisible. You have to set the foundation with the things that don't really like count or matter, or at least you think it doesn't, but it does. Here's the kicker. If you want to be able to like start a business, build your dream physique, you have to be able to do that on a smaller scale to then be able to go above and beyond to actually pursue that on a much bigger scale. What this looks like in practicality is that if you want to be able to like sort yourself out by following a strict routine, then what you can do there is that you start by following a simple routine in your own like day-to-day life when you're doing like your studies or your working principles or whatever. And this is what I was trying to do in like the beginning of my own journey, because I tried to help myself first, and then I was able to move above to actually raise to a bigger level. And this is how you start seeing results. But this is all I had to say for today, and I hope that you got some value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.